Chad Connell, High Country Construction, Lander, Wyoming.
Okay. If someone else wants to jump in, let me know if you're in the meeting. I'll get you written down.
Fort Hedquist, Oftedal Construction.
Okay.
Jennifer Small, Rain for Rent.
Okay. Do we have any other people on our Zoom call?
John Lang, Ramshorn Construction.
Okay.
Two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, seven people. Sorry.
Okay, so I'm showing 7 people online. So far, I've got High Country, Oftedal, Rain for Rent, and Ramshorn Construction. Who else do we have online?
And
Can you hear me, Brock?
Fritz here with Mountain View Building.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Brock?
Yes.
Okay, Robert with Hot Iron, Gillette.
Okay. And it looks like we should just have one more. Take a look at the screen here. So I'm showing we have someone from Barnum on here. Can you hear us? So if you're from Barnum, I see on the screen, but I'm not hearing you. I'll go ahead and write down that Barnum Construction shows themselves as being at the meeting. They're on the Zoom call for some reason. I just can't hear them. That could be. Yeah, either you're on mute or something's happening with your microphone, just so you know. So just to go through, we have here representatives from Hot Iron Incorporated, Bornhoft Construction, Viper Underground, High Country, Oftedal, Rain for Rent, Ramshorn Construction, Mountain View Builders, and Barnum. Is there anyone who I've missed? Okay. So that taken care of, just do quick introductions. So I'm Brock Roberts. I am the project manager for Inberg Miller Engineers. This is the project we've designed, and sit to my left is Mayor Highsmith. So Mayor Highsmith is going to be our main point of contact with the town. And sitting in the back of the audience is Mike Quiver. He's the Town of Shoshone Public Works Director. So to begin this meeting, I want to talk just briefly about bidding procedures, just to make sure everyone's on the same page. So we use the standard EJCDC instructions to bidders. I think everybody should be pretty familiar with that. One thing I would like to point out is that bidders are encouraged to make sure they understand Article 13 of the instructions to bidders. And Article 13 is the basis of bid. So for this project, the basis of bid is unit price base bid with alternates. So with that, bidders need to submit a bid on the unit price basis for each item of work listed in each section of the bid form for the base bid and each alternate. So that's bid forms A, B, C, and D. So every bid form that's in there needs to be filled out. And with those, the price for each alternate is the amount that would be added to the base bid if the owner selects the alternate. And in the comparison of bids, alternates will be applied in the same order of priority as listed in the bid form. So the way that works is we're going to take and compare everybody's base bid schedule A, and then we're going to add bid schedule B to everybody's, and then we're going to compare those. And then we're going to keep on adding alternates until the town has used up all of their available funding. So now we're going to move on and discuss a couple of unique or noteworthy aspects of this project. If anyone has questions, feel free to hop in. Otherwise, if you have questions about something I'm not covering now, I'm going to open the floor after I discuss these few items. So unique or noteworthy aspects of this project. The first one, we have included a contract time milestone. And that milestone is the all work contained in bid items 6, all work except that contained in bid items 6, 27 through 28, and 30 through 37. And those bid items cover the lift station, the sewer grinder pump, and the associated components. So everything except those items needs to be substantially complete within 60 days after the date when the contract times commence to run. So another way of putting that is that we're giving everybody 60 days to put in all of the sewer line, the force main, and the manholes. And then we recognize that some of those components for the lift stations and the grinder pump assembly are going to have extended lead times. And that's why we've included a longer amount of time for those so that we have time to get them here without running out our project clock. So the contract time to substantial completion for the remaining work, it's largely based on the approximate lift station lead time. We're anticipating right now that's probably going to be the component with the longest lead time, and in discussing with some suppliers that date we've selected is roughly in line with what they're thinking. We could get a turnaround on a packaged lift station, and that includes both the submittal process and then getting that equipment delivered. So another noteworthy item is that Inberg Miller will be providing a single set of construction stakes. And we're also going to be performing RPR duties and materials testing. So we're going to be involved throughout that whole process, and the contractor will be working with us for everything. So with that, that's the reason we haven't included pay items for surveying or materials testing, because the town has already included that in our contract with them. One thing I would caution you with those construction stakes, we are only going to do a single set. So if those get wiped out or somebody wants something additional, then that's going to be the contractor's responsibility. So the next item is that something a little bit unique to this project. We're using Wyoming Public Works standard specifications, and everybody familiar with those knows that at the end of each individual section, that's traditionally where measure and pay has been listed. To try and clean that up and make it a little bit more user-friendly for both me in the field and then for you guys in the field and putting together pay applications, I've created a new section. It is section 01150 of the special provisions, and that will govern the method of measurement and basis of payment for all listed pay items. And that just was a tidy way of getting that all put in a single spot, so you guys don't have to flip through all of Public Works plus all of special provisions and trying to figure out what's going to govern and what exactly is included and how we're paying for it. So everything that you have questions about for how it's going to be paid and what's included is in that section 01150. So another unique thing I want to make sure everybody is clear on is that in special provisions in the section I added, section 1005, I've listed the major components that are believed to be necessary for connection of the lift station and grinder pump assembly to power. The contractor will have all materials contained in the specification reviewed by their licensed electrician or their electrical engineer for sizing and compatibility. And it's anticipated that the contractor's electrician or electrical engineer will propose any substitutions if necessary. The contractor's licensed professional will also be responsible for sizing, selecting, and laying out all wiring and grounding and associated materials, including but not limited to things like wires, conduit, disconnects, panels, fuses, ground conductors, et cetera. And so the reason for that is that it's assumed the person who's doing that installation and that portion of the work is going to have the best feel for what they're comfortable installing and what's going to work together the best for all these components. So we've laid out what's going to be needed, all the major components, so that we can have uniform and equal bids and compare those evenly. And then the smaller items that are left over, like making sure the grounding and the wiring and the conduit, that's all going to be up to whoever's installing it so that they can get that all put in together in a way that makes sense and works together, and everything is going to work well. So another unique thing for this project, we're going to have the contractor supply major materials for the lift station SCADA system. The town already has their own SCADA engineer who's familiar with the system, and more importantly, they're looking for a future upgrade. So he has the background on what that future system is going to look like and what we can include now so that we can communicate with our current system and also have that be forwards compatible with their planned upgrades. So since that person is already on the project team, we're having the contractor supply those materials so that we can get everything covered under a single contract. And that helps with the funding agency and their payments. But that SCADA system material will all be installed by the town's own contractor. And so that guy and his work is not included in your guys' contract. So next is that the contractor is going to need to coordinate with Wyoming Mushrooms for converting their system from septic to the new grinder pump. Wyoming Mushrooms is the big mushroom facility just northwest of town here. So a couple different things are going to need to happen for coordination with them. There's going to be coordination for timing, of course, as those are switched over to make sure that they're on board with one of those outages and that work occurs, because they are going to be operating as normal. But we can work with them to come up with a reasonable period where we can make that switch. The other reason we're going to need to coordinate with them is that the contractor's electrician is going to need to figure out exactly how to run power from their building to the grinder pump. So that's going to also affect their operations a little bit.
And none of that can be done until the grinder pumps are installed.
Correct. Yes. Yep. There's a lot of time to do that.
165 days from now.
Correct. Yes. And so for those online, you probably weren't able to hear that. So we just received the question verifying that 165-day substantial completion period included time allotted for figuring out the wiring and how to connect to power at that factory. And that is correct. The 165 days does include that grinder pump assembly. So there's a pretty long period where we can coordinate with them and have your electrician get in there and figure out the best way to connect everything to power.
If there are comments from the floor, let's step up to the podium.
Okay. And that'll
Then they
broadcast.
speak there, then they can be able to hear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys comfortable with that? Okay. So next item I have on here is that the contractor will also need to coordinate their schedule with Rocky Mountain Power and Source Gas. So both utility owners will be installing services to the lift station site. We've already pre-coordinated with them and they have their own agreements and contracts in place with the town. But they're waiting for us. I didn't want to give them to go ahead and just have 2 more lines out there that you guys need to work around. And additionally, for the power, they're not going to run service until we put in a service pole. So that's part of the electrical portion of this contract, is that we need to put in a service pole. And then once that is in place, then Rocky Mountain Power will come string their line. So we've told them we are planning to do the work, we've got it coordinated, and we have them waiting until we have a contractor on board to figure out the exact schedule. And we want that to not interfere with the rest of the work on this project. So the last item of note here I wanted to point out, in case people haven't seen it yet, that we've listed performance criteria in the specifications for the lift station, the grinder pump station, the backup generator, the automatic transfer switch, and the digital phase converter. Those performance criteria specifications give a little bit more leeway so that the suppliers can provide items that are available, first of all, and that also are best suited to our project. So we've told them what we need those pieces of equipment to do. And then since that performance specification is in place, it's wide open for them to go get what will meet our needs and that they have available.
And the backup generator is part of this project,
Correct. Yes.
but 32 weeks out.
32 weeks out. Yep. So again, that fits into that, that extended substantial completion period, because things like that are anticipated to have the extended lead time. So those are all of the major items of note that I have that I wanted to make sure everybody is aware of, that are either unique to this project or are maybe slightly different. This time I'll go on ahead and open the floor to any questions from you guys.
When are you anticipating startup?
So for startup, the town is working alongside Wyoming Mushrooms to add the ability for future private development to connect into the system. And those guys are going to be ready to break ground in the spring. The town has been ready to go. We've just been working through some permitting things. So the preference would be to move this along as efficiently as we can. Ultimately, that schedule is going to be up to how quickly we can get paperwork back and forth between us and the contractor. Our goal is to have a really quick turnaround. So likely it will ultimately come down to when you guys are available to start and when you can get the paperwork back.
So April?
Yeah, so roughly, if everything were going very smoothly, we're looking approximately beginning of April start date with all the turnaround with the paperwork and notice to proceed and get everything going. In terms of when the town is anticipating awarding the bid, that would be at their regularly scheduled meeting. So the bid opening is March 7th, and then they have a meeting, I believe that following week, March 14th. So March 14th at their regular town council meeting is when we'll be looking to award the bid.
Got a question from Barnum.
Okay,
Schedule A, the base bid, and the others considered alternates.
that is correct. So just to repeat, the question was, is Schedule A the base bid and our bid schedules C through D alternates? That's correct. Bid Schedule A is the base bid.
So you're gonna award it off the base bid or everything total?
So we will award alternates in the order that they're presented until all the funding has been used up. So depending on where bids come in, if there's only enough funding to award bid Schedule A, then that would be the only one. If we have additional funding and the other bids come in underneath that funding amount, we'll continue awarding those until all the funding's been used up. So the goal, they have a very high level of grant forgiveness, and we want to use up as much money as we can.
But you can determine low bid off of total project base plus all alternates.
Correct. So the way the bid comparison will work is we'll start with bid Schedule A and compare everybody's bid.
Yep.
Then we'll add B, and then we compare it again. And then we add C and compare it again. And then we'll award that until we no longer have the funding, and everybody's total bid will be compared against all identical bid schedules.
Can you tell us how much money you got?
Off the top of my head,
We-
I'm
we-
not
we
sure.
were-
And are you guys comfortable sharing that?
I think we talked about in council meetings.
Public record.
It's,
Okay,
it's,
yeah.
it's public record. I know our original estimate was 1.6566 million. So that's what we based, that's what we're based on.
Million and a half or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So that was,
That should be enough for base bids.
yeah, that was kind of what we, and since we're a smaller community, or we're a mid-sized community in the state of Oregon, but anyway, we don't have a large fund that we can reach
Right,
into,
right.
yes. So that's why we got a need list and a want list.
Which
And
was,
see how far the money goes.
Yeah.
And we want to spend all of it that we can.
Okay.
That we-
Might as well,
that we
yes.
afford to, yes.
Yeah, so just in case, since I'm a little close to the microphone, if anyone online had a hard time hearing that.
Okay.
Oh, no, you're good. The question was, is the town willing to share what their total funding amount is? And that's publicly available information. Their total funding amount is in the neighborhood of 1.6 million. We don't have that exact figure in front of us, but that's what they have available, and they don't have any additional resources. So that approximately 1.6 million is what we have to work with, and we're gonna award as much work as we can up until the point that's used up.
Barnum asked a follow-up question about the Schedule A. Is it all gonna be awarded to one contractor? So I'm assuming is it gonna be Schedule A, the one contractor, and reevaluate B to a different contractor, or is it all inclusive? Is what he's asking?
Yes, yep, so that is correct. So Barnum had the question are all the bid schedules going to be awarded to the same contractor? And the question is, yes, they're all going to be included in a single contract.
I guess if, correct me if I'm wrong, yeah. For Schedule A, company A, B, C, or D could be the lowest. But if there's funding left to do Schedule B, you had A and B together, you could have a different contractor, is that correct?
No, so it's all,
Oh, okay.
yep, we're just awarding a single contract.
No, that's
Yep.
what I mean, single
Yeah.
contract, but the
Yeah.
contractor, you could have a different contractor, if you had A and B together, the total of the two you might have a different contractor than just A.
Okay, so let
That's
me,
correct.
yeah, so let me clarify that. So there's only going to be a single contractor selected. So we only have, the contract is only going to be between the town and a single contractor. And the bid is going to go to a
You're not
single
understand-
bidder.
You're not understanding my question.
Okay,
Okay, we have company Y, Z, and company Y's base price is say 1.3 million. And Z is 1.31. So that's Schedule A. If you add B to it, then X goes to 1.5 million. And Z will go to 1.45 million. Z would be awarded the total contract because if you had A and B together, he was less than A and B. Is that correct?
correct. Yep.
that's sort of what I was trying to ask. I mean,
Right.
so for all these, I guess you, like you just said, we have 3 alternates.
Correct. Yes.
So are you gonna use the total of all unit price bids as the low bid,
Correct.
this last one?
Yeah.
So if it's 1,000,003, and then after the fact, if it's 1,000,008, and you award that to the low bid, because everybody else is 1,000,009, for example, then you're just gonna back off on 1,000,008 till you can spend your budget, whatever you need.
Correct. So for example, if everybody will submit all 4 bid schedules. If everybody's schedule, I'm sorry, is everybody's total of all 4 schedules together exceeds our funding amount, Then we're gonna bump it down and we're gonna compare everybody's total price, just considering bid schedules A, B, and C.
Also, you're gonna back that out before you even award low bid or whatever.
Correct, yep. Let me verify this real quick, because I
I think
don't
that's my
want to
understanding.
tell you guys
I
wrong.
mean, you can load bids up
Yeah,
different ways. I
Right,
mean,
right, sure.
I just want to keep it fair for everybody, that's all.
yes, definitely.
That's what I was trying to.
Usually, you award like off a base bid and then put the alternates on it, or you award off a total bid. You just back off the alternates as needed to get to your budget. Usually that's the way we see it. We don't. At the bid letting, we don't say, oh geez, we're $1,000,007, we can't read his because we're over now or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. So just so everybody's aware, so this is in document EJCDC C200, instructions to bidders for construction contract, under Article 18.05, evaluation of bids. This is how they list it. So in the comparison of bids, alternates will be applied in the same order of priority as listed in the bid form. To determine the bid prices for purposes of comparison, the owner will announce to all bidders a base bid plus alternates budget after receiving all bids, but prior to opening them. So that base bid plus alternates budget is what we had talked about, is what we have available for funding, the roughly 1.6
So
million.
the way this is wrote, I mean, maybe I'm reading it wrong. So this says total of all unit price bid items for the main one.
Yep,
then
and so,
number 2 says total of all unit price bid items. So we add this one with that one.
yeah, and so there's just a little more here that might do a better job of explaining it. So it says, for comparison purposes, alternates will be accepted following the order of priority established in the bid form until doing so would cause the budget to be exceeded.
Okay.
So
So this alternate, the number down here is gonna be this alternate.
It-
Just this,
correct,
because
yes.
it reads total of all unit prices, which is gonna be this and this. Am I looking at it wrong?
So let me finish reading this here and then we'll make sure we're all on the same page. So after determination of the successful bidder based on this comparative process and on the responsiveness, responsibility, and other factors set forth in these instructions, the award may be made to said successful bidder on its base bid and any combination of its additive alternate bids for which the owner determines funds will be available at the time of award. So a different way of looking at it would be, well, we're not going to be looking at A through D combined to begin with. To begin with, we look at A,
Be base bid, okay.
and then if we still have money, we look at A plus B. And then if we still have money, we're going to look at A plus B plus C. And
So base
it-
bid is what it's gonna be. A little bit.
It's not base bid, so it's all together. So if we look at A plus B plus C, and at that point, we've used up all of our funding. Yep, so at that point, the town only has budget to do bid schedules A plus B plus C. And so for comparison purposes, we will have exceeded our budget. And so the comparison is the price A plus B plus C for everybody.
I get it.
I'm really happy to
Okay.
try and
That's
explain
okay.
it in another way. Does
I
that?
think we needed to clarify.
Yeah, oh, no.
That's 'cause for me too. I mean,
Yep, that's why I brought it up, because I want to, it's slightly different
I get it
than.
now. So
Yeah, just,
if we have 1.65 million and company A bids for just schedule A, 1.65. And then company B bids 1.5. And then schedule B is 150,000. Then, but schedule company A says, well, we'll do it for free. A plus B, they become a low bid because there's enough available funding. But if we run out of money the two bids at the Schedule A, there's nothing available, then the lower bid on A wins.
Correct.
If there's enough money left over between two candidates, two bids that are under our max amount on Schedule A, and they both have a Schedule B bid, the combination of A plus B would then win all of it. So just because you're the low bid on A, there's enough money left over on B, does not mean you're gonna be the low bidder overall.
So it changes every,
It could potentially, depending on how much money,
Correct.
Contract the other bids in, yeah.
Yes.
as that,
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
Yeah, we're trying to get as much bang for the buck as. as
so once we hit
can.
1,600,000, stop filling them out.
excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we're still asking everybody to fill out all 4 bid schedules. And
Okay.
that way we've got complete bids.
Simple enough.
Okay, do we have any other questions?
Did we provide information where we went out and did some subsurface, dig with the backhoe in that subdivision? Did we provide any of that information?
So the question for Mayor Highsmith is, what is there available for subsurface report? There's no official report available. The town did go out at one point and do some informal test pits with their backhoe, but there's no formal reporting for subsurface investigation included in the bid documents.
Yeah, all we did was just dig down some where we could dig with a backhoe.
How far was that?
Most of it 12 foot, that's as deep as we could
So
go.
deep as you go or hit rock?
Huh? Yeah. I think we, on that 40 acres, we drilled, we dug like a 5, each corner and one in the middle. And I'd have to check if I remember right, it's the southeast side that we did. It's some sandstone around it, but
That's what I remember.
Yeah.
The rest
Put that
was,
information out. The city's results, findings.
It's top secret.
So that was informal. I can summarize what they've said. So
Yeah,
what
we
Mayor
didn't do-
Highsmith just highlighted is what they have. They didn't actually write anything down or have a report. They just had their guys go out with the backhoe and.
So is there a rock bid item? No.
Is there what?
Is there a rock bid item? Rock excavation,
No, there's not a rock
and if we hit rock,
bid item.
well,
So, yeah, the way it's written right now, that would be included in
incidental to
the
the price,
prices. Yes.
because there's rock on the other side of town.
like, I think we can. I think we can share that information, but, once, like I said, we didn't get out there and drill a grid and
Right.
do geotechnical. We just went with a backhoe and we did that for
question 2 from,
when we was initially looking at it
Mhm.
to work up an engineer's estimate on costs, if we had any issues. But we did a thorough backhoe.
I just know there's rock in some spots,
Yeah, there's, like I said, the only.
not out there,
Yeah.
different parts of town.
Well, oh, yeah, there's, there's,
I did the one over here by Phillies and Cream, and that was jackhammer up the hill.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't know what to expect out there.
And one of the alleys over there, we old Delbert down there, 7th, and it was
mhm,
rock up the alley.
Yeah.
I mean, some of it's jackhammer rock.
Yeah. It's surprisingly, we didn't have it really, like I said, if I remember correctly, southeast corner is the one place we hit anything.
12 feet's pretty safe, pretty good.
Yeah, right, yeah,
That's,
that was fun, I think it was very good.
I just know some of it's really, 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 really hard.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
and then Barnum wanted to know if the plans on sheet C5.1 is a water service detail, and he doesn't not find where the service is located. He just wants some clarification.
Yeah, so the question is just, could we clarify what's on sheet C 5.1? That's correct. That is a water valve and a water service line detail. So I will point you towards sheet C 4.0. If you look in the very northeast corner of that pad, we're putting in a short 3/4 inch water service and a little meter pit. And that was going to let us put in a little frost-proof yard hydrant. There's no water out there. And that's going to give us water on site for maintenance and cleaning of that lift station. So that's what those details are for.
Is that broke on the bid tabs, that service, or is it?
Correct, yes. I can tell you.
That's fine, you have to look it up as long as it's out there.
Oh, no, I know where it is off the top of my head almost. So that is item number 14. So the meter pit and frost-proof hydrant assembly. And just getting back to the question about the subsurface, does that answer your question? But when I summarize these meeting minutes, and I'll have.
Yeah, I was wondering if you're saying something about formal or informal. Or,
Yeah, so it's not going to be. So what I include as meeting minutes aren't part of the bid documents, but I do compile meeting minutes and send that out to all plan holders. And so part of those meeting minutes will be our discussion about the subsurface, and we'll summarize what the town did. And that there's no other reporting available, and that it was pointed out other contractors have hit some rock in the area on past projects, not specifically the area where we have our project, but just around town.
So we're top of the sewer line when we're done. Are you sort of, we gonna cut like a road in sort of? Is that what plans sort of show, or?
Yeah,
Put fabric down and road base, and so we
yes.
cut the road to grade, or?
So we're not doing much for grading, so it's just going to go back in at the same elevation where it is now. But we are going to go back in with a 10-foot section
Right.
of crushed base, and then
Fabric underneath it.
fabric. And just for everybody's information, if they're wondering why, so this project is going to be built out in stages. So this is the first step towards making that property developed and
eventually
allowing
it's gonna
lots
be
to be sold. So it's going to happen as money comes in, and we don't know the timing of it. So we're going to have at least that 10-foot access so that we
gonna
can
put
get
that
back in.
to some sort of a road grade.
So it'll just be at the existing, flush with the existing ground, and then it's going to be that section of base.
You don't want us to cut the grade or nothing.
So not any specific grade, because when they come back in and do the subdivision, then that's when they're going to do the final grading.
Fabric out, redo it all.
Yeah. That's why we're a little lower. So if they come back in and on a later date, it's anticipated that
Yeah.
would be built up slightly.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's why I'm at grade, so that in the future, when they're ready to do their final grading, we don't have to tear out what's in.
To clarify why, you know, is because this grant doesn't cover that.
Right,
type of
doesn't cover the
stuff.
road building.
So we have to be careful with how far we can get with what we can get.
So we're gonna have to go through there and blade the stage and stuff out of our way. Put the sewer down, then lay the fabric down and put the road base on top.
Correct.
So I mean, we just do that 10 feet wide.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Just, I mean, but it's up to you guys what you want for a width, but the minimum would be that 10 feet to
Can we
allow
leave the
that
stage out
section.
there? Where's that gonna go?
That can, other than that 10-foot, it's up to you guys.
So we just roll it to the side and leave it out there, or haul it out, or what do you?
So that would just fall under the regular clearing and grubbing Wyoming Public Works spec. And so, yeah, as we clear and grub, we get that out of the way and hauled off. And then
Do you have dump sites?
do you guys,
A site.
yeah, so that's something we haven't made those specifically available. That would be something that the contractor could coordinate with the town if they're successful.
With the side note with a little, we're starting the process right now. To put in power and water distribution. I don't know if we can get everything done, or probably next spring,
Out there,
yes,
so you're putting water lines
yes.
in our way?
No, after you're done.
You're
Okay.
first.
You're first, yeah,
Okay.
this is, we're doing
Okay.
this in phases, yeah.
So there, the subsequent work is in
Okay.
the funding
I just want to be
acquisition
clear,
phase.
because it's
Yeah.
a good sized project to have water mains jacked all over.
Yeah.
No, none of that.
Yeah, that would change
Too much
what
service
we're
or something.
doing for sure. Yeah.
In a perfect world, we could do all this at once, but
Right,
we have to do it as funding becomes available.
and that's more grant money down the road or whatever, whatever's happening.
Yeah, well,
Another project.
it's another project that's in the works.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, yeah, and to also clarify, I guess, along with your previous question about the fabric and the base, that's the other reason that we have a pretty narrow strip. We have to have that 10-foot clearance between water and sewer anyways. And so that guarantees that nobody's gonna have to dig through that fabric. To, there could be like a short perpendicular stretch, but by and large, they're not gonna have to go in and tear out that access improvement to get future utilities in place.
And our power is also gonna be underground out there.
Is the town gonna provide water, construction water?
Should be able to.
Just set a meter on a hydrant or?
Do you guys,
We will, yeah, we'll have a meter on the hydrant somewhere,
okay,
easy access. So
Barring lightning strikes.
yeah,
Actually, Joe, I think that we can draw off of Boise if we had an issue with our water.
We can.
contract. So we could draw off Boise as well if we don't have access locally.
the town has water rights out of Boise River. That that's where the water used to come from the river before they built the reservoir, and the town had water rights. We still have those water rights.
It was throw a pump in the water, or what do you
And
got?
just, yeah, we just gotta track how much gallons and then I'll report it once a year.
So we'll provide a pump to fill our water truck.
If that was the route that was gonna be done, yeah.
I mean, if we had something going on with city water.
I was just saying as an alternative,
Okay.
we have a local
Backup,
source.
okay.
You don't have to go over to Riverton or something to get water. We'll be able to get it locally one way or the other. Most likely we'll have water in our system, but
Okay.
with Mike and as, he'll be able to advise at that time if there's an issue.
There's a lot of water, yeah.
How's snow out there?
Yes, it is.
Actually, I was gonna collect the snow for you, have all the water you want.
Yeah, put it in a pile over there close to the job site.
okay, do we have any more questions?
And the mushroom farm septic is just the mushroom farm, or is it all their houses, and what do they got?
Correct, so that's only for the mushroom farm, and right now it services their two buildings, one and a half buildings. So there's an office building, and then there's the front half of their production facility. And that septic system only handles municipal flow. It doesn't have anything to do with their process.
Just sewage remove, those facilities, the septic system in Leachfield. Is that can you just abandon? Or do you have to remove it?
So the way we have it in the contract right now is to pull that septic tank and get that out of the way.
and Leachfield as well?
So leach field, let me double check what I have in there. So the steps I have listed is that the tank is going to be pumped empty and septage needs to be hauled to a licensed facility. Then the tank, yeah, we're going to remove the tank and the leach field and backfill the excavation using excess material generated by installation of other improvements. So yes, we do have that leach field getting pulled out of there to leave that clean. There's been discussion about some future work going on in that area, so we want to get it all.
So septic tank concrete, do you know, or you don't know?
I'm not sure. It's buried. We haven't dug it up.
Then leach fields, infiltrators, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so we don't have specific information. There's no record on what was there. We don't have any knowledge to
We
the
can't-
contrary of it just being a normal.
We can't bring that to the Shoshone, don't
We don't have one.
you have tanks or what do you think down there?
Pardon?
Don't you have dumpsters down there? Or those are gone?
Oh, they mean that, the
Transfer station?
Transfer
Transfer
station,
station, yeah.
yeah.
we,
Can you take plastic there if it is plastic or?
I think they have a separator there.
yeah, we'd have to check with solid waste on that.
That's county, right?
That's county, yes.
Yeah, so that would be up to the contractor to figure out which of the Fremont County solid waste facilities are permitted to handle different refuse. Okay, any other questions? Okay. Do we have any more pop up online?
Nope.
Okay, well, hearing none, we'll go ahead and conclude the meeting. If anyone has any additional questions, happy to answer them, and we look forward to seeing everybody on March 7th. Appreciate your guys' time.